My name is Samantha and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be going through a standard podcast episode where we're going to dive into some finished objects, which one of them may or may not knock off my Make 9, one of my Make 9 items. We'll see. We're going to go through finished objects, works in progress, and then acquisitions. So I'll end it up with some lifey bits, just kind of update on what's going on, what I've been reading, what I've been watching. But I want to, dive on into my finished objects to start. Obviously, I have not necessarily gotten the whole transition into a podcast down yet. I'll work on it, guys, but this is only, I think, like my third podcast episode, so it might take a little bit. I know a lot of people like to say what they're drinking, so I'm drinking just a bang, normal, straight on coffee, some cream, some sugar in my Redwoods California mug, which I got, oh gosh, it's actually not last Christmas, not last winter, but the previous one when my fiance and I went to the Redwoods in California because I just really wanted to go there. So now we're going to go ahead and dive on in, and we'll start with some finished objects. Alrighty, so one of the first finished objects, I'm not going to unwrap it because it's going to go like this into a gift. It's going to get wrapped, but it is a Sophie scarf for a friend. We're going on our Chicago trip at the end of this month because, yes, I am in fact filming this in March. Oops. So this is a Sophie scarf for one of them. I did a terrible job of embroidering because we all had the same colors. The first initial of the two girls going, J and Z. I'm not going to show you that because it's frankly quite embarrassing how badly the embroidery is. But this is finished, so you guys have seen it before on this channel, but it is made out of the Camarose Snef Nug in the color Bordeaux. I used 3 balls. I essentially just knit up with one with increases, knit straight with one, and then decreased with 1 ball. So that is that one, and I am done making Sophie scarves for the foreseeable future because finishing this scarf was a slog, and it tells me I should not make 4 of the same pattern in a 2-month period ever again. All right, the next thing I completed was a beanie for myself. I did the Grow hat by, let me pull up the Ravelry. So I did the Grow hat by Fiber Tales, and I used the yarn I got at Alpaca Pines from Alpaca Pines at the Suncoast Fiber Festival, or Sunkissed Fiber Festival, from the Alpaca John. And I'm realizing now that cables in a dark yarn didn't really show up right, especially I guess like a 100% alpaca yarn, but it's super soft. I really love the pattern when you can see it. The lighting is also not great in here today. It's a very overcast day here, so the lighting is not excellent, but I loved the pattern. I highly recommend checking it out. It just kind of looks like little plants growing in different increments, and it was a very quick knit for me. I think it only took about 2 days total. It's a little bit short for my head. I have a relatively big head, so like if I were to put it on with the brim folded up, it is like pretty short on my head, but I don't mind it too much. And if I wear it with the brim, folded down, it then gives me this, and I don't like when beanies have that. So The good news is I won't be wearing it all the time because we don't really get a lot of beanie weather in Florida. So that is that one. And it, like I said, it took me 2 days. So I started it February 14th and I finished it on February 16th. And I did not use the entire, I think it was 100-gram skein. I did not use the entire thing. So I have one whole skein and then whatever is left of the first one left as well. So I'll probably make some like mittens or gloves or something to match. Oh my gosh, the birds are like at the window and my cats are going crazy about it. They love the birds. They watch them too. I watch the birds with them. We have bird seed out front. It's great. Hopefully my hair does not look absolutely ridiculous now. All right, so that's that object. And then I've made a lot of accessories in the past like month or so or whatever. And then the next hat I finished was the Musselburgh hat for my fiance. So I have one more of these to make, but I made the Musselburgh in Malabrigo Rios yarn in the colorway black and the colorway Va. So I really like it. I had some problem with this because I accidentally somehow made one side longer than the other. I don't really know. So I had to rip it back a little bit and then knit it a little shorter. But in the end, it all worked out. I love this colorway. I love the Va. I think it is absolutely beautiful. Hopefully it kind of focuses in for you guys. My like selfie thingy that I put on the back of my phone doesn't work very well for real time. So we'll see. Maybe I'll have to start using my big TV. So whatever. But yeah, so I love the Va colorway and the hat fits well. What I wound up doing is I wound up doing a purl ridge so that it folded well, which is not in pattern. I was like, oh, let me just be crazy and do something different. And it works, but what that means though is when it's in the black. So it's not as obvious with the green one, like the variegated. It's not as obvious that you can see the black purl ridge there. But when it is the black version, it's much more obvious that there is a green purl ridge. So not that big of a deal. My fiance likes it. And then I have one more to make of this before our trip to Chicago in 3 weeks. But I did not log how long, like when I started and finished this hat. But it really didn't take me that long. Here, you can see the green purl ridge on the black side. But like I said, it didn't really take me very long to knit up. So I should be able to finish this, the other one for his friend, before our trip to Chicago in 3 weeks. But it's super soft. I really like the yarn. I would definitely use it again. I would use this yarn again, and I'm really liking it. So let me just take a sip of my coffee, guys. All right, so that is the last accessory I've completed. So the last item I completed, oh, and I'm realizing that actually both the hats I made does knock one of my make 9 items off. So that's really exciting. And this next finished object, I really anticipated and intended for it to be one that would knock a make 9 off. I guess like in a way, technically it does, but the intention. Okay, so this is my anacortes pullover, or what I was calling my redemption sweater for my fiance. It did not redeem me. It is great. I like it a lot. It's soft, comfortable. Was a flog. I will say I This knit took forever, or it felt like it took forever. I think even if it didn't necessarily actually take as long as it did, because I'm looking at my date. I started it January 17th and I finished it February 20th. So it took a little over a month. It felt like it took forever. Granted, January felt like a span of 5 months. Ice maker just made a weird noise. January felt like a span of 5 months within one, but this felt like it took a really long time. And it made me realize I don't necessarily think I like an all over rib. What the heck is going on in our kitchen? That ice maker is going crazy. Anyways, it made me realize I don't think I like an all over ribbed item. I definitely don't like knitting all over rib on a deadline, which I was doing. If I was able to kind of put this down and focus on other things, it would have been a better experience, I think. But it just really felt like it took forever. And then I thought I had knit the right size for my fiance. Lo and behold, it was too small. And I didn't realize it was too small until I finished to about here, including the sleeves. So I had knit practically the entire sweater, including both the sleeves, when I was like, ooh, I don't know. And so I had him try it on. And it was too tight. So I unintentionally made myself another sweater. Fits me great. When I realized that, what I wound up doing is I wound up just cropping it like I would normally do it, my normal length, and it's now mine. So that's why I say I think I kind of knocked something off my Make 9, because the anacortes pullover specifically was on my Make 9, but it was on there as a redemption sweater for my fiance for when I made him the Dagmar jacket, or the Dagmar zipper, and the sleeves were wrong. So what we're finding out is I think I get probably a little bit too in my head about gift knits or like sweaters for him, and they wind up not fitting right. But he likes the yarn a lot. It's Malabrigo Rios in black, and the sweater is great. I think what I'm going to wind up doing, my next attempted garment for him, I think I'm going to do a cardigan, because I think that the fit of a cardigan might be a little bit easier. And I actually have an idea for it. I will talk about when I'm talking about my current whip. But overall, like I said, this took me from January 17th to February 20th. I did go down to 3.5 millimeter needles, because when I had originally knit my swatch, he did not like how like gapey the fabric was looking on the swatch. So I did go down to 3.5 millimeter needles, which did not help with the knit feeling like it was a slog. And I knit it in the size 5. I did not put that in my Ravelry notes. I knit it in a size 5, I believe. My gauge wound up being 20 stitches to 34 rows pre-blocking, and then it was 20 stitches to 36 rows post-blocking. Like I said, I like this sweater. I think it's a really comfortable sweater. I love the detailing. I love that the twisted rib goes from the neckline, so the where you cast on the neck, it goes down the raglan. Where was I? I'm pointing to the wrong thing, guys. It goes from the neckline down the raglan into the side of the sweater, and then into like the underarm of the sleeve as well, which is really nice because that means the decreases are not as obvious, I think. And then it feeds into the ribbing on the end of the sweater and then the end of the sleeves. I love the details. I think it's an absolutely gorgeous sweater, and I would knit it again, not on a deadline, and I would try to knit it for my fiance again, but for right now, I finished this. It's fine, whatever. He has a hat for our trip to Chicago. He'll be fine. Oh, the other thing is I wish I had like marked when I first started where the back was, because there are short rows, but I'm still having a really hard time figuring out which side's the back and which side's the front, which is interesting. Yeah, it's another good sweater added. I've worn it already. It's like I said, it's very comfortable. It's warm. It's soft. It's like super soft. It's a superwash wool, superwash merino. And I didn't have to worry about like alternating skeins, even though it is, I think, a hand-dyed yarn technically from, I think Malabrigo does hand dyeing, because it was black. Like there's no variation in color at all. So really enjoyed it. Would recommend the pattern. I really would. Like I said, I think it's a gorgeous sweater. The construction was easy. Like it was an easy construction. It just felt like it took forever because it's all over ribbed texture. And it's broken rib too. So it's not just like you can't necessarily get into the flow because you have to remember to like switch every other row. And then you have to remember the twisted rib, which you put markers in, but the twisted rib takes longer too. So there's not really I think that was part of the problem for me. I never felt like I got into like a flow with it where it just like I had a knitting session. I sat down and I was like, wow, I'm knocking this out like real quick. Like it felt like every time I looked down, I had made no progress, but I'd been knitting for so long, it felt like. So yeah, I think that's all I have to say about the anacortes pullover. So I'm going to pop that over there. And that brings us to whips, which I actually just have one whip right now. I haven't stuck the next Musselburgh on my needles yet. I'm kind of locked in on this project because I'm really enjoying it, and that is my Lakes cardigan by Ozetta. So I'm going to give you some stats on that first. So I'm knitting this in Noro Madara in the colorway Saki, and Isir Alpaca 1 in gray held together. So essentially exactly what the pattern calls for. And I'm knitting the size large. So I'm honestly knitting this exactly to pattern. I'm not doing any modifications. I considered cropping it, but I do like that it's like an oversized sweater. So I stuck with the length on the body that it called for. And I'm almost done actually with the body. So here she is. Oh, and I'm doing it on the recommended needle size, which I think is a size 5, because like I'm on the ribbing. So yeah, it's a 5.5 millimeter needle for the body, and then 5 millimeter obviously for the ribbing. So I've made this much progress. So I'm almost done with the body. I have like maybe another 1/4 inch left in it. So another like 4-ish rows of the body ribbing. And then I'm going to bind off. And I think I might do the button band next because I'm waiting for 4-inch for my interchangeable needles to do the sleeves, because I like doing my sleeves with 4-inch tips versus the 5-inch tips that my set came with, because I just feel like I'm able to get further into it before switching to DPNs, or never have to switch at all to DPNs on the 4-inch versus the 5-inch. The 2 inches really makes a difference. So it's going by so fast. I cast this on February 25th. So today is March 6th. So I've been knitting this for a little over a week, and I'm already almost done with the body, and I'm knitting it to pattern, including I did the short rows to shape the back as well at the bottom of the knit. So I'm quite happy with the progress I'm making on this one. I'm also very excited to have this. I'm not gonna lie, this is the most colorful knit I feel like I've made. Like I don't make things that are like very rainbow, but I feel like it's subtle rainbow in my opinion. So that is really nice. It's knitting so fast. I think it's the larger gauge. This is actually the largest gauge. Oh gosh, my nose itches. This is actually the largest gauge project I've knit so far. And I'm really enjoying holding the strand of Alpaca 1 versus like a mohair with this. I like a mohair. I like I do like how the fluff looks, and I don't regret using mohair in any of my other knits or like the silk suri or whatever I've used previously. Like I don't regret having the fluff in most those knits. I just think personally something like this where it's a little less fluffy like works for my environment, because it's almost too like out of place to wear something super fluffy in Florida, in my opinion. It's just my opinion, y'all. But yeah, I'm really liking it. And then this is the saddle that I blocked, and I think it blocked out so nicely. So gorgeous. I know some people have talked about this yarn before, about how there's like a lot of moments where it, like some of it's more spun than others. That's not really bothering me personally. I'm not having any issues with that. I think it's fine. I think it adds like nice, fun, like character and texture to the knit. And for the knitting experience, it's not irritating me at all, in my opinion. So I'm hoping to finish this before our trip to Chicago. We will see. I do kind of think it will be possible though, because I just have to do the button band and the sleeves essentially at this point, and the sleeves will be in the round, so it's gonna feel like those are flying by, I think. And then the button band is where I'm a little bit weary, because I think it's like the collar is rib and then the button band itself is double knit. So I don't think I haven't done a double knit button band yet. So we'll see how that goes. But that is my only whip I have ongoing right now, and I love it. I'm very happy with it. I'm very excited to have this in my wardrobe. And I'm excited to finish this before kind of moving on, I think, to some summer whips, because yes, I know it's technically spring and it's technically still winter in most places, but remember, I am in Florida and it is currently outside, like in this mid 70s with like highs in like 80s now. So we are back to summer essentially. So I'm going to work on some summer knits next, I think, after my trip to Chicago. So that is everything that I've knit on, and I have currently, oh my God, that I've finished and that I'm working on since my last update with you guys. So I'm gonna get into some acquisitions, which I have quite a few, which is not ideal, but here we are. Okay, so we'll start with the first thing I acquired, which is some more Sorella Cashmere DK yarn from the Eras collection, the Eras Yarn Club collection. So this is our song. See if it'll show you the color nicely. I only got 2 hanks of this one. I kind of wish I had gotten 3, but Artie, can you leave Effie alone, please? Thank you. I kind of wish I'd gotten 3, but I had ordered this prior to finishing my other Stockholm slipover that I did with this, which I felt like was just a tad short. I was a little concerned about getting to the end on that one, but it'll be fine. It still fits well, so I'm gonna make another one of those. I like the color. Sorry, I just wanted to smell it. I had a sudden urge, but I do like the color. I think it's really fun. It's very bright. This will be good for like springy summer time wearing. So yeah, I'm excited. Like I said, this is for another Stockholm slipover because I do wear those quite often to work. And then the next slipovers I make, I think I'm going to try something other than the Stockholm slipover. It's just, I know that is like an easy, quick knit for me. So and I know I can get away with 2 hanks for that. The next thing I acquired is from Swan City Yarns. I went to a sock blank dyeing workshop at my LYS that was hosted by Swan City Yarns, and obviously she also had a pop-up there, and I've been to so many of the pop-ups for her because she's local to us, and she does, like Swan City does work with my LYS quite often, so I've seen it a lot. I haven't yet necessarily pulled the trigger on purchasing one of her yarns, and this time I decided to do it for this colorway that I have been eyeing since I first saw it. It's just very me, and it's also very Christmassy, but we'll deal with that another time. But it is the Under the Mistletoe Swanky Sock. Okay, my fiance just came back from his run, so I had to stop filming while he was in the house with his music playing and all that, but I'm back. Okay, so I was talking about my Swan City yarns. I got the Swanky sock base and the colorway Under the Mistletoe. And I love it personally. So this base is 80% merino, 10% cashmere, and 10% nylon, and it's a 2-ply fingering weight yarn. And this hank has 600 yards and it's 150 grams. So I'm definitely gonna have leftover from what I plan to do, which is a Musselburgh hat for myself. And I decided I was going to do, for my contrasting color, my second color in the Musselburgh hat, I purchased the Malabrigo Caprino yarn, which is a sport DK. So I actually might wind up holding this double to do the hat, so I can hold it with this. So this is a sport DK weight yarn. It is 80% superfine merino and 20% cashmere, and I got it in the colorway Cereza. And I think this with this in a hat will be gorgeous. I'm really excited. I'm hoping to finish this before our trip to Chicago. I have a lot of stuff I'm hoping to finish before the next 3 weeks. We'll see. But like the Musselburgh, I think it really did only take me like maybe 2 or 3 days. So I think I can do 2 of them if I really like lock in and get it done. But yeah, I would like to knit that for myself before our trip. But dang, I did a pretty good job matching these reds. Huh, quite proud of myself here. Yeah, but I'm really excited about that. I think it's gonna be a gorgeous hat. And then my next acquisition is from Sorella as well. I have a problem. I love Sorella's colors. I think they're just beautiful. Her yarn is great. I need to unsubscribe from her newsletter. That'll help. So I have been wanting, so I saw, I think it was Knit Cheek, Natalie, had knit her Woozy by Celine's, I forget what it's called, but it's like the mohair top that she has, and she did it in like this pretty sage color, and I was like, I want one too. So I was kind of waiting, looking for it, but I wanted to try a Surrey. I didn't want to do a mohair. I find some mohair is kind of itchy, so I wanted to try a Surrey silk. And then along comes Sorella with her colorway of the week or month or whatever that she does. She brought back the Lady Whistledown colorway from the Knitflix collection. And so I got 3 hanks of this color and her Surrey lace. So it is 74% Surrey alpaca and 26% silk. And it is 328 yards, 300 meters per 50 grams. So I should have enough to do the Woozy by Celine top. I'm very excited. I think this is going to be absolutely beautiful, and I love the color. This is the kind of purple I do like. I don't wear a lot of purple, but I love like a beautiful like pastel-y purple, like I guess this is kind of like a lilac-y kind of purple. I don't know. I love it though. I'm very excited. And in that order, she was doing her mystery mini skeins, and I had enough points to get one of them free, and so I got 2 other ones, and she sent them to me, and or whoever picked it, they picked to match my beautiful Surrey, which not necessarily needed, but I appreciate that. And I got these 3 purpley colors that kind of all go together of the mystery mini skeins. And then I also purchased, it's not here yet, but the favorites of 2025 collection. I got the mini skein set from that as well, because I really, really want to make a sweet shop blanket. I have the pattern. I think it would be excellent, and it would be a great way for me to also incorporate some of the like souvenir yarn I have as well that I might not finish or that I have a single skein of. So I am excited to get started on that, but I got these minis and they'll go into my sweet shop blanket, and I think it's going to be gorgeous. Very excited about that. But that brings us to the end of acquisitions. So thank you for sticking around. If that's all, if you're just here for the yarny things, next I'm going to go into a little bit of a media minute to kind of give you an update on what I've been reading, watching, listening to, and all that fun stuff. So here we go. All right, so I actually am making it through a physical read, which is crazy. I never thought I'd be in a position in my life where I'd be like, I am not reading a lot physical books. Like, I have this extensive library. I was really, really big into, reading and reviewing books on Instagram and all of that kind of stuff. And it just hit a moment where I was like, I can't do it anymore, and I stopped. So I recently decided to jump into Mate by Ali Hazelwood, and I am more than halfway through, which is really exciting, and I'm really enjoying it. I loved Bride. I devoured Bride. I started reading it during when Milton and Helene, I think it was Helene, because we evacuated for Milton because they were like back to back, and Helene was like terrible, and we were like, we don't want to be at home just even in the aftermath of a hurricane, because it's just like there's no power. We had to boil water notices, all of that kind of stuff. So we evacuated from Milton. But during Helene, I read Bride because like I couldn't work. Like there was no power, there was no internet, like the cell service was down. It was crazy. So after Helene, during Helene, I was reading Bride in the aftermath, and I devoured it. So I was really excited when Mate came out. I love an Ali Hazelwood book. I think she does paranormal romance really well. I do. Some people have their opinions on Ali Hazelwood. I think she's great. I think she's hilarious too. I saw her do a panel at Steamy Lit when Steamy Lit first opened in South Florida. Deerfield Beach, I think, is where their main location is, and they have a Tampa location too. But when Steamy Lit first opened, they did like a little panel, and Ali Hazelwood was there. I think she moderated it, and she's just hilarious. She's such a funny lady, seems so nice. Like, she is just awesome. So I really enjoy her work, but I'm making my way through this, and I'm really enjoying it, and that's really exciting. And then listening, I finished quite a few books on audiobooks. I think I wonder if I can pull up my Libro FM. I film on my phone, so that's where I listen to things. While I figure that out, I can talk about what I've been watching. So I've been watching Atlanta, The Real Housewives of Atlanta still, and that has been pretty good. I think it has its seasons where it's good. It has its seasons where I'm like, this was kind of boring. But overall, I do enjoy it as a show. I'm in season 14, so I'm almost caught up on Atlanta. Portia has left. I liked Portia. I think she had her moments. It is what it is. Kenya's back. Freaking, what's her name? Sheree is back again. I'm like, dude, Sheree, like, she like comes and leaves and comes and leaves. Like, I've never seen a housewife in the franchises that I've watched leave the show and come back to the show so many times. It's crazy. So that is what I'm watching right now. How do I see what I have? I have to actually download the app. Goodness gracious. Okay. But that's what I'm watching for my like reality television. James and I are also watching Mad Men. We're in season 3. I will say the first season, I don't really understand this show. Like, what is the point of the show? The plot to me is just, it's very confusing. Like, there is no plot, but I'm still like invested enough to watch it. I don't know. It's interesting. It's fine. It's not my favorite. It's not my least favorite. I will continue watching it with James. We'll finish it. And then I would love recommendations for next. Oh, I think we want to watch the new Game of Thrones show next. That'll probably be our next thing after we finish Mad Men. For me, Mad Men is more of like a weekend watch is what I'm calling it, because like when I get home from work, all I want to do is just watch like my trash reality television, and then not have to like watch something where I have to think. So we watch Mad Men on the weekends. All right, I finally got back into my Libro FM. Okay, what I finished since my last one, I finished Sweep in Peace, which is the second book in the Innkeeper Chronicles by Ilona Andrews. I'm really enjoying it. It's a graphic audio. I love graphic audio. I also finished Undead and Unwed by Sam Shida. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really cute. It was a good book. Essentially, it's about a vampire who accidentally turns her neighbor into a vampire. And so they flee to this bed and breakfast that the identity she took on for this phase in her existence inherited. And it just kind of unravels from there. But it was really cute. It was a good one. I thought the narration was good. Would definitely, it's a single narrator, which I don't generally always like, but I think I prefer that to like dual narration, but graphic audios are always going to be my favorite. Really enjoyed that. And then my current read that I'm listening to is A Simple Twist of Fate by April Asher, and I'm really enjoying that. I love April Asher's books. I think if you like a good like paranormal interconnected world where it's like cute and it's not exactly prescribed to one paranormal, like in the world itself, they exist in conjunction with humans, and there is no hidden. It's very cute. I like it a lot. I like her worlds that she develops in her books. So 10 out of 10 recommend her books. But that's what I'm listening to right now. I would definitely love recommendations. I like looking every month to the Libro FM Kiss Club. I think that it's excellent, and it allows me to, get some books that I wouldn't have read or that I would love to listen to for a decent price. So there we are. All right. So thank you guys so much for watching. That's all I have for you today. I really enjoyed going over what I've been knitting on and also what I've been reading and watching. So thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you join me again next time. And if you liked this video, please subscribe to the channel if you're so inclined, and leave a comment. Let me know, what have you been knitting on? Have you knit any of the things I've knit? Have you read any of the things I've read? What are your thoughts and feelings on things? I would love to hear them. So, like I said, thank you guys so much for joining, and I will catch you next time.